Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Checkpoint Corner, the podcast made by gamers for gamers. I'm your host, Ryan, and joined with me, as always, is Tyler.
Hello.
And Matherin.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Oh, how's it going this week?
Fine.
Doesn't sound fine.
Yikes. Tyler, what about you?
My week has been going splendid.
Oh.
Shut up, Tyler.
Gosh.
I'm sorry.
Have you guys been playing any games this week?
Nope.
No games?
No, I have.
What were they?
Just more Dead by Daylight. That's pretty much it.
Nice. Did you get a new killer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ghost's face.
Nice.
Is he fun?
Yeah, I killed you
Yeah, you
Remember?
did. That one night we played.
last night.
Oh yeah, it was last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I watched you guys play it.
Did you play anything, Tyler?
This morning, or last night actually, and this morning, I was playing Mad Max again. That game is getting really repetitive. Even the story missions are super repetitive. It's always, hey, go get this one thing for me. Then you have to go. Then you go to this underground area. Then you have to collect it. Then you have to drive out. And then
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of driving.
when I first started the game, I was like 100%ing the first area. I was like, I want to do everything before moving on. And now I'm just rushing. I'm racing, if you will, to the end.
Yeah, you're maxing, if you will.
I've also I've been also replaying the Arkham games. They were on sale on Steam. I don't think they're on sale anymore, but
Dang.
yeah, just killed Killer Croc.
Whoa.
Wow.
You are playing a very different Batman. Yeah, I want to get the Return to Arkham and then Arkham Origins.
Mhm.
And then I want to get Arkham Knight physically, but I don't want to replay it.
Yeah. What games have you been playing, Ryan?
So I got a Steam game. I bought Resident Evil Revelations, and
Yeah.
that game was I went in with pretty low expectations. I was like, I kind of just want to play more Resident Evil, so I'm branching out to like the spin-offs. And that game was actually a lot of fun. It's kind of like 5, but more survival horror, which I appreciate. And then I finished episode 1 of Revelations 2, and that one was
Nice.
really cool. I like the zombie designs in that game. I think are a lot better. So I'm having fun with those games. And then I played a little bit more Crisis 3. I think I'm pretty close to the end of that game. It's fine.
Is it better than the other two?
Like the gameplay is a little smoother just because you have like an energy bar in Crisis, and you can go into like armor mode or cloaked mode, and then you could sprint like a lot of games. But in the other games, sprinting would take away your energy bar because it was, I guess, like a super sprint or whatever.
Right.
And in this game, sprinting is like its own thing, so it doesn't cost energy to sprint, which is
That's
nice.
good.
Like you have your own stamina, but it's not like uses your energy, so you can like
Right.
use your armor mode and sprint without it going down all the way.
Does sprinting get rid of your stealth? Or can you
I think
sprint
you
and
can
stealth?
sprint. I think you can sprint in stealth. It just uses a lot of energy.
Yeah. Did you get the bow yet?
Yeah, you get the bow right at the start.
Is it fun?
It's like a bow.
I remember playing the Crisis 3 demo when it was out on PS3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was way long ago though.
Yeah. Those games I think they're fine. I think they're a lot better when they came out, just because nowadays they just kind of feel generic
Yeah.
shooters.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I'm not really invested in the story that much. I'm just kind of playing just to play it. But they're fun enough. It's a nice background game, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone else has been playing anything this week?
No.
All right, cool. Well, I don't think I have either, so we'll move on. There's a
Great.
couple news that I want to talk about. So right at the day of recording, Gamescom I guess is going on right now, but so next week we'll talk about some trailers and stuff they showed. But yeah, Gamescom is happening right now. Obviously, you probably would have already seen it if you're listening to this episode.
Yeah.
And then, so Knights of the Old Republic, we talked about a little, got delayed indefinitely because some people were fired. It has moved not companies, but it's moved developers. So it's not being developed by Aspire or Asper. I don't know how to say it, but it's moved to Saber, but they're both like owned by the same parent company.
Right. What games have Saber made?
So Saber, they've done. I think they're doing that Ash Evil Dead game coming out,
Yeah.
Oh.
and then they've also let me look it up real quick. They've done. Oh yeah, they've done like the World War Z game.
Okay.
And I think they've worked on a lot of remakes for stuff, because it says here they've done like the Halo Combat Evolved, but I think, and like the Crisis remastered. So I think they're like remaster games. So kind of like what Aspyr does, or Asper.
Yeah.
And then Sony seem to be making a lot of movies, or going to be producing a lot of movies based off their games. Like
Yeah.
obviously like the Uncharted movies come out, but a while back. But like they're developing supposedly like a Gravity Rush movie and a Days Gone movie.
Yeah. Days Gone. I don't know. I've just seen snippets. I don't really know anything about the game, but that one kind of makes sense. But Gravity Rush, I guess I don't know anything about Gravity Rush either.
I don't know. I heard it's really good though, and I do want to play it sometime. But
Yeah, me too.
I have played most. Well, I won't say most, but I've played a lot of Days Gone. I guess a movie would be okay. I don't know.
I don't know. It seems from a distance. I don't know anything about the game other than like what the cover art looks like. It does kind of look like Mad Max though. It doesn't have to do with driving.
And then you just like have a motorcycle.
That's pretty awesome.
Like it's just kind of generic zombie game, but you have a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I guess like the voice acting in that game's pretty funny, but they could probably just get the same actor. He's acted in movies. He's the Force Unleashed guy.
Oh,
Sam
really?
Whitaker, I think his name is, or
Yeah,
Whitaker.
something like that. Yeah. That's cool.
So yeah, they can just get him for the movies. But
Yeah.
I guess we'll move on to our topic. So our topic this
Wait.
Oh,
I have one more piece of
Matt.
news.
Oh.
What's up?
Matherin's.
It said Dying Light 2 has announced its first DLC, Bloody Ties.
Oh, what's in it?
It looks like the circus is in it,
Oh.
That could be fun.
That's a fun style.
and they're bringing back the crossbow.
Oh,
Wait, didn't
really?
we already have a crossbow in there? I don't remember.
we might have.
I don't remember. They had some projectile weapon.
Yeah, looks pretty fun though.
Oh yeah, look at that. I can't believe I missed this.
Wow.
That's cool. I like their DLCs for the first game especially, because that's the only one that had DLCs so far.
Indeed.
I'll have to get that. Available on September 6th for all pre-order buyers, so I don't know when it's coming out. Oh well. Next week.
Also, the Gamescom, I heard, is showing another trailer for Life of P.
Oh yeah. Do you want to talk about Life of P?
A little bit, yeah. I'm not a big P. Yep, Pinocchio.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Life of Pi.
The
Well,
movie.
the movie. No, it's the Life of P. It's like it's a Souls or a Souls-like game, but you play as Pinocchio, like kind of become a real boy.
Bloody
Looks-
Ties comes out October 13th.
I don't. What does?
Bloody Ties, the Dying Light 2 DLC
Oh,
for everyone.
yeah. I don't think Life of P has a release date yet. Maybe they'll probably announce it at Gamescom. Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. It's the Pinocchio game. It's the Pinocchio inspired game.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks really cool, especially if you're a Bloodborne fan.
Yeah, which I'm not like. I enjoyed Bloodborne, but I played it with you, and you just kind of guided me through the entire game. But yeah, I don't know. I just love the art. I love the idea of fighting toys.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out when it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, they're showing a lot of Gamescom trailers at Gamescom. I'm excited for new stuff though.
Mhm.
But with that, I guess we'll move into our topic. So our topic this week, as you probably read from the title, we're going to be talking about just like open world games. We have some lists, but we probably won't do like our normal one by one list. We'll probably just bring it up when we feel like it. But we just want to talk about open world games, what our thoughts on open worlds, what we kind of want to see in open worlds,
Uh-huh.
and what we don't want to see in open worlds. So what are your guys' thoughts on open worlds, first off, in general? Madden's making crazy faces. It's freaking out.
Well, who's starting?
Well, we're not. Did you not hear him?
Let's just talk in general about open worlds.
I
like what you think about them in video
I
games?
really like the concept of them,
Mhm.
and I feel like they can either. It's like it's definitely a labor of love kind of thing.
Mhm.
How much you put into it is how much you're gonna get out of it. Which you could say for everything, but it goes especially for open worlds. And like, there's so many open world games out there that are blended with different types of games that work fantastically, and others that just flop.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Most of the time, that's due to it becoming incredibly stale and repetitive.
Yeah, like what I said with Mad Max.
Yeah.
The open world is very repetitive.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to do, but they're all the same stuff.
I think I had a lot of fun with Mad Max. And maybe we shouldn't jump into games right away, but Mad Max, I'll say, like in open world games, if the gameplay's fun, you can kind of get away with the generic open world as long as the gameplay's good. But
Yeah.
we'll get more into that when we go through our list. But yeah, open world games. What are your thoughts on them in general, Tyler?
For me personally, they have to be done really well. I find it really easy to there's different types of open world, and I like ones where, like, if like sometimes the open worldness isn't exactly like essential to beating the game, like
Yeah.
God of War, but it's still like sometimes it encourages you, and I think it can be really fun to explore, but only for certain games. I feel like some games make it open world just for the sake of, like it's
Definitely.
it's just like open world for no reason.
And that's what's hot nowadays.
Yeah, and it's like that's why I found Guardians of the Galaxy so refreshing. Is like I totally expected it to be open world, but no, it's a very like linear game.
Yeah.
And
They do have a little open segments, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
very like linear.
mm-hmm.
I would say when I was like younger, I loved open worlds. I was like, if a game's open world, that's all I needed to hear to buy the game, because that's just what got me excited. But nowadays, I'm just kind of sick of open worlds.
Yeah.
And it's not my preference now. Or like, if a game's good enough and I enjoy it, I would love an open world. Just to, it's like a sandbox for the mechanics that they make in this game. But I kind of think of it like if you go to a restaurant, there's like a buffet, it has like kind of everything. They have to cater to all these people that might want to get the buffet. So there's all these different stuff, but none of them are necessarily like high quality. Or you can get like a nice steak dinner where it's just that, but it's like catered towards you, and it's a really good steak dinner. So I just kind of prefer having like the steak dinner than a buffet of kind of an okay stuff, like quality of
Yeah.
like all the stuff that an open world has to have this checklist of side quest collectibles and kind of just filler areas to make an open world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely kind of sick of open world games now, and there's a couple on my list that we'll bring up. Like I guess the Halo Infinite open world is just not needed, I don't think, and it makes the campaign very forgettable.
Yeah, I haven't even completed it because I thought the open world really sucked.
Like the mechanics were pretty fun, and I liked the hunts, like the contracts you can do or whatever, and like hunting down the high value targets, but they weren't super interesting to fight. And the gameplay kind of washes over you, and you can kind of just do cool stuff in multiplayer.
Yeah.
And the campaign doesn't have any. It's like all the same area. There's no difference to the open world. It's just all kind of that the plains and the forest and the hills and stuff. There's no like cities or anything like that. So
different areas definitely would have helped it a lot. But like, I found maybe there is a way, maybe like later on in the game, because I didn't play a lot of. The campaign, but like I found myself one time, at least once or twice, just like stuck in the middle of nowhere, and I had to run all the way. Maybe there's a fast travel you can do. There probably is.
I think there is. If you can fast travel to a base you've captured or something.
Yeah,
you know how that.
But it's like
is.
you have to go like specifically somewhere. I thought it would have been cool if you can just like call a vehicle to your location.
Yeah,
I thought that would have helped a lot.
I just don't think Halo needs a open world, and I think the campaign suffers from it because there's no you're kind of stuck with like, I mean, some open world games aren't stuck like that, but they just didn't do anything with like set pieces or anything
Yeah.
for the open world. So
Definitely felt like they definitely wanted to make it different from the other Halo games. They just didn't really succeed at making a good game. Good game.
It definitely feels different, but
Yeah.
it's just not memorable, the story, and I think part of that is because it's set in this open world.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just one of the examples I have of not a very well done open world. Is there any open world you wanted to bring up?
Yeah. Well, actually, this kind of relates to the news part, but Cana, the Brig of Spirits, is getting an update, and that's kind of an open world game.
Yeah.
It's getting an update. I think they're adding a new game plus and some other stuff, but that game has an open world, and it's a beautiful game, and like I want to explore it just because it's so beautiful. But like exploring, I feel like didn't really have a whole lot to offer. Like it was just like collectibles, like cute hats you could put on your rot.
Yeah.
Or I think you could get like, you could level up your character by going out. But yeah, I really hope in the new update they add something that, I don't know, maybe a cooler collectible than just the hats you could put on your rot people.
Yeah, I think open worlds definitely need to reward you with stuff. Like I haven't done too much in the open world, but I know Matherin has like Breath of the Wild rewards, and I know you probably want to talk about that.
Breath of the Wild is definitely one of the most rewarding open world experiences, I feel like, just because there's stuff literally everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of the time in open worlds, there's just areas that have a lot more things than other places. And Breath of the Wild is like so diverse and like widespread with its areas of interest that it's just enjoyable all around. Like a good example is Fallout 4. In the main Boston area, there are 1 billion places that you can explore there and like discover. And then once you're out of that place, then there's like the rest of the world is pretty widespread. You have to like travel a bit for stuff, which isn't like too big of an issue. And I think that the Fallout 4 open world is not bad. It just feels very strange to have everything just in this mess of a city, like especially when it like crashes your game and stuff sometimes too. But yeah, that's why it was just really refreshing to go into Breath of the Wild and just discovering all these little secrets and places that are so widespread throughout the world.
Yeah. I also like how Breath of the Wild is kind of laid out because you've got like the 4 guardians or whatever they're called, like the giant technological animals.
Yeah.
Like shooting Ganon or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're doing something. I don't know.
They're shooting like a laser.
There's
at 'em.
like 6.
Or you make it so they shoot Ganon.
Yeah.
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 There's like 6 key segments in the game. There's the starting plateau that you're on.
Yeah.
Then there's Hyrule Castle itself directly across from that. And then in each of the 4 corners, there's the Divine Beast.
And that's a really smart way to do, like, because I like when that is one of the examples. Like Elden Ring, the open world, I don't like. I've said it before. I just don't like the open world of that game. I think it's too big, and it doesn't help you with just how expansive it is. Breath of the Wild does the same thing that Elden Ring does, where it's kind of it gives you this little tutorial at the start, then it throws you into the open world and just goes, have fun. Like, here's this world, be Link, go do whatever you want to do. But it has what you said, the in the corners of the map, there's the guardian things.
Yeah.
So they're very obvious. Like, well, that's a story point because look how giant that is.
Yeah.
So obviously I know where to go if I want to. Or I could just go to Ganon right now and see if I'm good enough to beat him, which you probably aren't. But, like, just to have that freedom, it's really cool to see. And then you just always know where you can go, but it just encourages you to explore, but in a accessible way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so freeing, and like it's just have a breath of fresh air.
I like that. But just a game like Elden Ring that threw me into this world, and I could kind of guess where I needed to go, but then sometimes it's just like you also have to defeat these other people. I'm like, okay, where are those people? So I have to go through this other long segment,
Mm-hmm.
and then I find myself underground, and I'm like, I don't know if this is the main path. Like, I could see how you could enjoy that, just getting lost in this world, but I just didn't like that aspect of Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't think it was done very well. Controversial, I know, but
coming from like Breath of the Wild, where it like points on the map where you know you're supposed to go, but it gives you the open world. I want to bring up Hollow Knight.
Now, hold on.
It might not be exactly like open world in the traditional sense, but like it's
Definitely free roaming.
It's free roamy, but like it starts off pretty linear. Like it gives you a small space, but as you continue exploring, it kind of leads you with Hornet like dashing around. But it gets bigger and bigger the more areas you can access, and then at the right part in the game, you're eventually going to find the fountain, or the dream nail. I don't remember which one it is.
What? Tyler doesn't remember something about the Hollow Knight?
I think it's when you get the dream nail, which you're eventually going to get to, and it points out the parts on the map, and it's like, okay, so that's where I'm supposed to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just kind of similar to, well, not exactly, but
I kind of wanted to go back and like mention Fallout New Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Since it is that has that same open world style, and it's in a similar way to Breath of the Wild, where it starts out the game, it kind of leads you down this path instead of like just the Great Plateau and having a starting area. Like there is obviously the starting area that you start at, but it leads you on this path through the map, and you can go straight to the end, but it is filled with straight to the end, quote unquote, but it is filled with like tons of dangers and stuff. So there's this safer path that you can take with the map. Usually it's like this, this kind of rectangle shaped, and you take this U shape through the bottom and then come around to the top. That's the path that you're supposed to take. But if you are brave enough, you can go through the Deathclaw infested area and just go straight to New Vegas itself. And I thought that was just a really interesting way to introduce its story, is like having you go through like halfway, like almost all the way through the map, getting to these key locations down before delivering you to New Vegas, where you can just go out for wherever you want from there.
Yeah, it's always cool when it gives you like, that's like you could go like the safer route, but then there's like a harder thing you could do,
Yeah.
It's like a bit more, it's always fun when the developers offer a fun challenge that's like optional,
Yeah.
Just like, test your skill level.
Yeah.
I think one thing I wanted to bring up is like there's many different types of open worlds, I think. So like Bloodborne is technically open world, but it's not really like open, it's more like pathways. So I just want to ask, like, what kind of open worlds do you prefer? Because there's like this, Final Fantasy VII remake and like I guess Persona 5 they kind of have like sections to their open world that you can travel. The Final Fantasy VII remake, I guess you kind of move along and you just are in open sections. So let's say like Persona 5 has like different areas that you travel to, and those areas are kind of open. It's not like one singular map like Breath of the Wild or like Skyrim or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you like those kind of closed off sections in open worlds that you kind of travel to? Like so like Metro Exodus is kind of the same as Final Fantasy VII remake, where you move along through the story, but as you're moving along you go through these open world segments where you can do side quests and explore and stuff.
Yeah. No, I do like that a lot. I feel like it can become a little bit cumbersome throughout games if you're wanting to get just through the story and stuff, and there's all these things on the side that like it's really offering to you, and then you're just like, I really don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of nice having these little different areas too, because it just feels a lot more diverse in that sense.
Yeah.
So
I think,
like it.
I think it really gives a feeling of progression too. Like, oh, I finally unlocked the next area in my adventure, And then
Ghost of Tsushima did something interesting where it just it like locked off areas, and you had to
Yeah,
progress
yeah.
through the story to go higher and higher.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I don't know. I like that sense of changing the world to what the story is at its like point, you know.
Mm.
And I think the world really adapts to what part you are in the story really well. And Ghost of Tsushima is my favorite open world game, hands down. It is so good. It really like it's just like the beauty of the world. Really like, you know, it's not a drag to run your horse. ride your horse. Ride your horse through like the beautiful scenery and stuff, and
Yeah.
you can collect sections of all the foxes and to upgrade yourself, and it's really relaxing.
Hmm.
I guess wish there was a little bit more like you said in a previous podcast episode, more duels.
Yeah. I think the Ghost of Tsushima world can feel a little empty, but like I think the gameplay is so fun where you kind of don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like this is one game. So like Just Cause 3, really fun gameplay, just mess around, do whatever, but I think the open world's a little empty.
Yeah.
There's only like one section of the map where you can like.
Yeah, there's like the smaller island, then the bigger one, and you're excited to go to the bigger one, but then you find out it's kind of all just forest.
Yeah.
And like there are some bases and stuff, and then like the train that you can have fun with, but I kind of just spent most of my time on like the shore in that big city.
Yeah.
But that's one game that I'm like, the open world could have been a little better to match the gameplay.
You've played the fourth one, right?
Yeah, I don't remember. I can't say much about. I haven't played much of it. I don't know. I just didn't grab me. Like,
Yeah.
I saw a tornado. I was like, okay, I've seen what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, those I think an open world game really has to focus on. It's really cool when the open world does change to what you're doing in the story. Like I haven't played much of this, so I can't say a lot, but I know people say like The Witcher 3 is really good in its open world that adapt, like the world changes with what you do.
Mhm.
For like a smaller example that I wish was done better, but like Skyrim with like its Civil War thing
Yeah.
of how you're like overtaking cities and you see the guards change and stuff. I think it could have been done a little better, but
Yeah.
like just stuff like that in an open world I really like to see.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I think The Witcher, going back to The Witcher 3, I think it has a really cool looking world. Like it's got like, I don't know, everything visually just really works in that game.
yeah.
It also just really feels alive. Like there's a time when I go side quest and it was like on one side of a war, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Too bad I found the gameplay a little boring.
Yeah, I need to play it. I've been hard on the game, but I really like it's just kind of in the same vein as Red Dead Redemption 2, where
Yeah.
it's just too much, and it's presented in a way that's not super exciting to me.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to touch on a bit of a nostalgic point for me. There was 2 games in particular that I had loads of enjoyment just dicking around in the open world. One of those was Destroy All Humans 2 on the PS2.
Yeah.
It's like the starting area is just this like small town that's like full of hippies and stuff. And you can just go around like zapping people. Me and Liam, my brother, had so much fun just doing that, just going around and like messing around with people.
Yeah.
Like that was super fun. But I think one that I had more fun with was on the PS3. There's this one Transformers game that like you could do the main story and it would still be in the open world, but it'd feel a lot more restrictive. So we would literally just like for hours on end just do the open world, which didn't have a whole lot in it, but there are so many places that you could go to and so many things you could do, like pick up random objects and throw them at people or at the the Decepticons and stuff.
Oh. Wow.
Like I think one of our favorite pastimes is to like take the giant donut off the thing and throw that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like it was just so much fun to just mess around in that and like blow up the big old like chemical power plant thing or whatever. Like we love doing that.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. When I was younger, open world games, it was easier to mess around with because my brain doesn't need to something to like. My brain could be interested by anything.
Yeah.
So just now that I'm older, open world games just need to give me that little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the God of War It's kind of I would say it's open world, but I like what they did with that because it feels like every series nowadays is turning towards open world. And when I played the God of War, the PS4 one, just in case you were confused, but when I played the God of War on PS4, I didn't do a lot in the open world, but I like what they did with it. How it's more, I guess it's kind of Bloodborne-esque, where it's more pathways.
Yeah.
And then you can fight the Valkyries, and that's kind of like your big challenge that you can do.
Yeah.
And I fought a couple, and I don't think I beat them, but I like that aspect of an open world.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I really like the concept. I didn't really do it, so I can't say like it was executed well. But from the looks of it, the God of War world is really cool. And I was watching a streamer play. Don't remember who it was, but I was watching a streamer play the open world, and they were like 100%ing it or something. And I was like, it looked really fun, like find the Valkyries and stuff. And I was actually considering going back and
yeah,
but it looks really hard.
Yeah, I went back and I feel like if I went back now, I wouldn't remember how to play the game, and I just get stomped and kicked around.
Yeah, I did go back recently when you guys were on your trip and played a bit of that.
Oh yeah,
I tried to fight a Valkyrie and failed miserably.
Yeah, they're pretty tough.
Yeah.
Like another example. So Borderlands 2, I think, has a pretty fun open world, especially if you play with friends. It's just fun to ride around. And there's a lot of cool areas like the western town, and that's really fun. But then if you beat the story, then there's another boss that's like this giant super hard boss and you kind of have to go through the story New Game Plus to kind of have a chance and level up to be at the same level. So that's kind of fun. It gives you that incentive to play the whole story again to beat this boss. So I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Borderlands 2, I remember having a lot of fun in there, open world. And then Borderlands 3, you could go to like different planets, I think.
Yeah, you could.
And that's crazy.
That is so crazy.
It's like Destiny. But Destiny's more of like an MMO, I guess.
Well, no, Borderlands 3 is kind of shares the same aspect of God of War, where you could go to different realms and they'd have their own different like open world areas type things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of like Destiny in that sense.
We kind of sped run through Borderlands 3, but I don't really recall any memorable areas in Borderlands 3. Except for that like forest area, but that was really confusing because it was like horizontal or vertical.
Oh, yeah, with the Jacob Smith, the gun guy, whatever.
Yeah.
That is... I had a game. Oh yeah, the Mass Effect games also kind of do this, where you can go to different planets and kind of explore. I wouldn't really say it's open world. It's more like you kind of have a hub world and you can't just explore. Yeah. But those Mass Effect games are fun. The first three, anyways. I didn't like the fourth one. Couldn't finish it. Barely got into it. It was boring.
One game that has a really fun open world, I think, is SpiderMan.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's funny because. Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say on that point.
I think it's done really well. It's just New York.
Yeah.
And it's just like Spider-Man, so like obviously it's just gonna work so well together. But then like all like the side challenges, there are some stuff that like take your time, and like you really like the Taskmaster stuff. You really have to go, and then like when you do the Taskmaster stuff, you're going to do the Taskmaster. But there's also other stuff where it's like the picture taking, where if you're swinging by the area, you can just like take the picture and like boom.
Yeah.
And same with the backpacks and stuff.
See, that's with Spider-Man, he's just so fun, like gameplay wise. So if you're playing like Assassin's Creed, it's like I could go collect this thing and chase the whatever you chase in Assassin's Creed. I don't remember, but like the way the parkour works in Assassin's Creed, it's kind of just like you're on rails, you run and climb stuff. It's not super fun. Spider-Man, you have all these little moves you can do while swinging, which makes it fun. So you might as well just go to the collectibles and do them, because just swinging around the open world is so fun. Like I never fast traveled in Spider-Man.
Yeah, me
just because swinging around was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool because like I feel like in Assassin's Creed, because everything's like based on parkour, usually the path is very obvious on where you're supposed to go and stuff. But in Spider-Man, since he's like web slinging, you can basically like swing above the rooftops, and like those ones where you're chasing the birds,
Yeah.
I think becomes very like find your own path, and I think that makes it become a little bit more intuitive and like really makes you feel like Spider-Man.
Yeah. And I think one thing I wanted to bring up, so like the Arkham games, they have open worlds. I think they're fine, but they always have to shoehorn in this reason why there's no civilians. Like
Yeah.
Arkham City was it's like, well, it's a closed off area where we keep all the prisoners, so it's just prisoners. Like there's no civilians, it's just empty. And then Arkham Knight, it was like
They
Scarecrow's
evacuated.
gas the city, get out of there or whatever.
Yeah.
Or he's going to gas the city. In Arkham Origins, I think it was just night out, so there was no civilians. Because why would there civilians be out in the city at night?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And that's just in Spider-Man now that you have all these cars going by. There's the streets are filled. You can high five pedestrians.
Yeah.
There's crime that actually starts happening.
Yeah,
And-
that's another thing that's really cool is like the active crime that happens.
Yeah, and Batman, those games just don't have that, which is like there might be some. I think there's some like crime that's happening that you can interrupt, but it's just like there's no civilians. It's a missed opportunity, I think.
Well, I think it's also like the type of superhero. Like, I don't know. Batman always felt like, it's always him against his bad guy,
Yeah.
With Spider-Man, it's more directed towards, well, Spider-Man first off is a lot more
Friendlier.
friendlier, yeah. And so like in the city, it's just obviously just so much joyous because you're playing as this friendly. And I think the surroundings really amplify how fun Spider-Man is as a character and as a not saying like the Spider-Man game has a really like deep moments.
Yeah, but he's fun.
Yeah, and then Batman caters towards more of like, it's always night out, so like amplifies his stuff. But yeah, I do agree that the Arkham games,
It just makes the open world feel so dead when it's just like a group of 3 thugs sitting around a corner street.
yeah, it feels more like a game,
Yeah. It just where's the people?
Or where are the enemies? I
Yeah.
wanted to bring up Dying Light for that reason, because the map is filled with not people, but rather zombies.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an interesting mechanic going around this map that like where the people are all kind of on these closed off little safe areas, and everywhere else is just super hostile, so you can't like linger for too long. And it's also interesting, it's like you can't make too much sound, you have to like precariously but also quickly get around this cityscape, or else bad things will come.
Yeah.
And it's such an interesting mechanic to have to like make your game more tense and stuff. And also a big thing with open worlds that we haven't talked about yet is day and night cycles.
Oh yeah.
I find it interesting just because like in that day and night cycle, you usually in like a game like Skyrim per se, you just have like the mornings or whatever, like this certain time where the NPCs like wake up and start doing their jobs.
They
and
have their
stuff.
schedules.
Yeah. And they go to sleep at this different hour. And then like in Dying Light, obviously like days safer, and then nights when like nobody's out and there's volatiles all around.
Yeah.
And it's super dangerous, which is a super interesting mechanic in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But for an open world game too, it just makes it so much more tense, and just like, I feel like a lot of times in open worlds, things can just be like super safe for you. Like you could just be anywhere, really, and then you're fine. But just making it so there's only a select few places that you can go to be safe, like in Dying Light, is really interesting to have.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that the second one really loses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first one, they're open world, because when it's turning night, you're like, oh shit, I have to like get back inside.
Yeah.
And then I'll take a nap unless I want to hunt volatiles or whatever, because you are a runner, and it really feels like you are running out there and traversing through this dangerous world. And obviously the danger depends on what kind of game it is. Like Spider-Man, you don't really even feel in danger. at every time because you're Spider-Man.
Does Spider-Man have a day and night cycle?
Well, it probably does, but you don't. It's not like you're ever have this need where I need to be somewhere safe.
No,
the world's
I
not
know.
super dangerous.
But I just don't remember it ever being night. Anyways, continue what you're saying.
But Dying Light 2, it becomes very clear pretty quick that nighttime isn't that bad.
Yeah.
Like there might be a couple volatiles, and then you get the case meter up like it's like freaking GTA or something. Like I think that was a dumb mechanic that they shouldn't have.
Yeah, it was an interesting concept, but like compared to the first game, I think it just doesn't really compare that well.
Because the first game, night felt terrifying, and you just see the minimap pop up with all these volatiles, and you're like, oh my, I need to like corner them. I need to run away and find like a choke point. Dying Light 2 is just, I think they wanted you to do more stuff at night, so they're like, well, we can't make night that much danger, that too bad, like too dangerous, or else you're not gonna want to do the night missions. Or whatever.
But that's because like in the first one, it was like sometimes missions had to be in night. And like that made it like all the more terrifying because of how like terrifying nighttime was.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh crap, I really gotta prepare for this one.
And I think Dying Light 1 has a DLC called The Following, where it has a new like open world segment. I think that's fine. I think it's a little empty because you have the buggies that you have to drive around.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't think that's as fun as running around rooftops and cities and stuff. But I do like what The Following had, where it was these bosses that were in these walled off areas that you could fight. I just like that in open worlds, like kind of bosses in certain areas that are optional but you can go beat, and if you're not strong enough you can level up and go get them. Like I think Dying Light 2, I was really excited when I found out there was these special infected, but then I found out all of them were exactly the same. It's like that's disappointing. No variety. You need variety in open world game.
You really do.
In sections, enemies, like environments.
It's such a big project. It's just open world games. Like I said before, you have to put a lot into it. But if you don't have variety and everything is just the same over and over again, then that is the biggest way. That is like the reason why people don't like open worlds now, is because so many of them are just like that.
It feels like they built this game and then just added on these extra layers that just like land. Like I don't like when an open world map is so big. I guess like when I was young I was like, cool, the bigger the better, right? But I just like a more focused open world, I think.
Same.
Like I'd rather have like quality over quantity in my open worlds. Like Red Dead 2 I'm sure is great, but the world was really big and it scared me.
It's really overwhelming just how like big the map is, and then like you have to ride your horse. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima is good at riding your horse because it's a beautiful world and it's a smaller map, I think. Or at least the map is like, in Ghost of Tsushima, the map is like linear open world. You know, it's like tall. It's not really like
spread out. Like a paste.
You're really advancing. But in Red Dead, it's just a one massive map.
And I'm sure Red Dead has cool stuff to do, like trains and stuff, but I didn't get into it too much, so I won't.
One thing in Red Dead is like, I mean, I didn't play much of it, but like the consequences, I kind of want to like mess around, but then you always have to like,
because it's too realistic. You always get a huge bounty on your head.
You have to get a huge bounty, then you waste all your money just because you want to mess around a little bit.
That's Skyrim. Like a game like Skyrim, you don't get punished that bad. Like I guess like if you spend your days in prison, some of your progress on your levels will go down.
Oh really?
That's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, but and then like obviously you have to pay the fine or whatever. But
one thing about the day and night cycle though is that you have to do that like right, because like in Skyrim it's just kind of like tedious when you go to the shop and he's like not open, so he's like, I have to like, I mean there's a waiting, but sometimes you have to wait like 17 hours for it to open, but not like in real time.
That was one thing. So Skyrim, like with open world games, I think freedom is a big part because that's what open world games are. But like in a game like Skyrim, there's so many people that you just can't kill. Like they're just invincible. And a game like New Vegas where you can kill anybody and then the story caters to that is so well done. Like that's what you should be able to do. Like, I understand it's hard. That's really difficult. Like, I don't expect in a game like Witcher with this story and lore and stuff that you can just kill anyone.
Right.
And I don't know. I just because the fact that you can hardly kill anyone in Skyrim is like, well, you're not really giving me a lot of freedom to be who I want to be in this world.
Yeah.
So I'll download a mod that I can just kill everyone and break the game.
Yeah.
One thing I'm going to go back to the Assassin's Creed games for a moment because I forgot to mention. I just want to give a quick mention to Black Flag. I played it when I was younger, so maybe it's the open world would suck. But I really like Black Flag's open world because you're a pirate and you get to sail the seas and get in ship combat. I didn't want to explore all the little stupid islands with the collectibles because who cares about that?
Right.
But it's just fun sailing the seas, and it felt like there was enough to do, but maybe going back I might change my tune on that. But
yeah, looking back, I remember the ship fights were like really fun because you could like shoot cannons and then you could board them, and sometimes it was a little tedious because you had to like line up right next to them.
But that's what the pirate life, you know.
Yeah.
and
No
then,
way a drunk pirate could line up that well.
Yeah, and the others had like I liked Syndicate's open world, I guess, but
It was more the visual that I
don't know.
catered to me.
Assassin's Creed, they just seem to have like to me, just the most generic open worlds of like a few collectibles, some side quests, and then do all these, and then do the big territory, whatever. And then the territory is taken and it's cleared or whatever.
Yeah, I haven't played Origins, but I heard that there's like a really interesting mechanic where it's like, I think it's like the main story where it's like you have to kill these certain people, and I don't know that. I haven't played it again, but that seems really interesting to me. But I don't want to. Or was it Odyssey? It was either Origins or Odyssey.
Was it the Egyptian one or the Greek one?
I don't remember.
It was one of those.
It was one of those. I think it was the Greek one.
Odyssey.
So
Odyssey. Yeah. But yeah, that seemed like you were actually an assassin. So.
Because you were assassinated.
You were like, you had to assassinate these certain people to get to these other people, and then you had to get like lore and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, get information.
Another one of the really interesting and just super fun open world games that I've played is Shadow of War.
Oh yeah, I wanted to bring that up too.
That game does a fantastic job at making the world like really interesting.
Yeah.
Because you can go around the different places and fight and or recruit each of like the different orc captains and stuff, and then essentially build up your army to finally like assault the main like castle place. And you can do it at your own pace too, to like you can weaken the castle like how as much as you want, or just build up your army, or just go on and like go straight on in and try and take it, you know. And I thought that was just a really interesting way to pace the game too, because it rewards like each type of player, like the calculating ones, and then the ones that just want to like get through it.
Just Russian. Yeah, that was. But there is a slight problem with that I want to bring up, is that there is a story, but like, who cares about it? Because like it's such a manic game, you know. Like you manage your own castles and you go out and you like build your army up. That honestly, I've never completed the story in that game because
oh really?
I just go back to it and I just start managing my castles and my troops and stuff.
Yeah. It's a really fun. I think the Nemesis system is one of the greatest systems in a video game, just because like you're walking on the open world and sometimes an enemy general that you know might pop up and taunt you, and it's just so fun.
A lot of fun, really interesting take on what you can do with open worlds, which is definitely what open worlds need these days, is to just have more unique mechanics that cater to the entirety of the open world that they're presenting.
They just need something that's integrated into a game, into the core gameplay of what you're playing, because you could switch out like any of the Assassin's Creed open worlds. The Halo Infinite world can go wherever. Like, it doesn't feel like those worlds are exclusive to their games.
Like
the Mad Max world is just kind of Because those games that go to the watchtower, then you'll find all the secrets on the area, take the main area, then you have the region unlocked.
That's one thing I hate, the balloons in Mad Max, because you have to fuel them up and you have to do a slow parkour to get up there usually. Not all the time you have to fuel them up, but sometimes. And it's like, and then you have to slowly ascend, and then you have to slowly descend. It's just a complete waste of time.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
On most of the time, I just ignore them.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other open world games that I want to mention. But
Cyberpunk is another open world that I thought was kind of interesting too. It's very traditional in the sense of, you know, just being an open world,
yeah.
but there's like the different districts and stuff that you have, and it. I want to mention like the desert place, because like you go away from the city and it's still like part of the map. Like it's not just the city, it's just a map, but like you can go away and it feels like a whole new area kind of thing.
Yeah.
I didn't get very far in Cyberpunk, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
But it's just an area outside the city, right?
Yeah. I thought it was interesting, just a little. It's definitely not the best open world by any means.
I think it can fall a little generic, but
yeah,
that game just doesn't have like a huge identity, so
yeah,
it's unfortunate. It should have been more about like the crime and stuff in the open world. Like I like this idea of you're like this bounty hunter-esque character, and you can do jobs for people and collect up your stuff, but they didn't really do that. And then it wasn't, I think they recently added like you can buy different apartments.
Yeah, they just added that.
Yeah, and like that should have been in from the start, and just you like collecting your loot and stuff.
Yeah,
because I like that in open worlds. Like going back to Skyrim, just like the random collectibles. Like you can collect the Daygrick artifacts. There's there's the dragon priest masks. Like they're about.
Yeah.
They're scattered about the map, and
Yeah.
I like when open world games kind of do that.
Yeah.
And then you can go to Labyrinthia and do all the masks there and find a secret.
Oh yeah.
It's very cool.
Very awesome indeed. I mean,
yes.
not for me though.
Yeah, because you haven't.
I don't like Skyrim.
No. Wow. Okay.
No,
Okay. Okay. Let's not get back into this now. Do you think the God of War Ragnarok's gonna be open world like?
Yes, I think it's gonna be more open world than God of War.
Oh, you think
Really?
so? You think you should? What if there's a God of War game? You can go to all the different. Like you can go back to Greece, even though it's freaking destroyed. You could go to Egypt and visit the gods there. You just travel.
It's probably where they're gonna go next after Ragnarok.
Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But what if you could go to all of them in the same game?
Maybe they'll be after Egypt, and they'll be like God of War in time.
Yeah. I just think a lot of games you just don't need to do. Like Last of Us 2. So it's a super linear storytelling game, but there's this one section that was like kind of open world, but it was really odd. Like it was fine because you find a note that says something, and then Ellie will like mark it on the map of where you can go, but it was only for that section. So I don't know if they like developed that section to be like, all right, let's just go back to the normal Last of Us like structure, because it was just like that one area section was like this kind of open world area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was interesting, but
One game I want to bring up is Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga,
oh yeah,
or the new one that came out, whichever one that one is.
yeah.
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 That open world is fine, but like there's also levels in it, and I could not distinguish when I was in a level and when I was in the open world. Like they were so similar and they weren't distinguished enough. Maybe I just was half asleep when I was playing it. But
Yeah, the Lego. So you remember, like Lego Batman 2, I think. It was like you're in Gotham, right?
yes,
And then Lego Batman 3 was like beyond Gotham.
and you were like
And you're-
on worlds.
You're on planets,
Yeah, on
but they're really small.
They're really small.
And
Yeah.
you're like running around them. Like
Yeah, it was like Super Mario Galaxy.
yeah, and that was so odd because it wasn't as fun as Gotham.
No.
Later games are weird.
Uh-huh.
Any other games, open world games you want to talk about? Any other on your list?
No.
No, I'm okay.
Ni no Kuni is a game that I just want to bring up because I like the art style, and I think it's really fun. And
It's open world, though,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's open world.
Yeah, I don't know if you're just bringing up a game that you like.
It's open world. It's very vibrant.
It's a good open world, though.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's like layers of open world. No, it's like the one big map, and then you go into these little sections and stuff.
Yeah, there's.
I guess it's more of a hub world. Well, not really. I'd just call it.
Because, like, Dragon Age, when I played Dragon Age Inquisition, they have, like, you get, like, your castle area. And it's really cool. I think it's cool how they do it. And then you can, like, go to the regions and do the stuff there. Or you can kind of stay at your castle and, like, deploy people to do jobs on the map.
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool. I guess it's open world.
I couldn't really get into that game because it was like took too long to start, and
It's disappointing.
it was very basic medieval stuff.
Okay. I guess with that we'll end our episode.
All
Then.
right. And this whole episode was
Yeah, sorry. I want to ask, would you want to see more open worlding games in the future or less?
I think Frank, games don't feel like you have to do open world.
Yeah, they really use it as a crutch now, I feel like.
Yeah, it's like, and you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, only do open world. I feel like games should only do open world if it amplifies the rest of the game, and if the game is like made for open world.
If the gameplay calls for it.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine having Spider-Man be like constrained to a linear story. I guess Spider-Man does better when he's like in this open area that he can swing around in.
But this is all to say that we're super excited for the new Sonic game. Sonic Frontiers.
Finally, Sonic is going open world, and it looks like someone picked up Sonic from his game and placed him in a random game.
It doesn't make any sense.
Added some rings and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That game's pretty funky. What were you going to say, Tyler?
That was it.
Oh,
That's what I
what
was
you were
gonna
going to
say.
say. Oh, cool. Well, I guess with that, we'll end out the episode. So I'll leave you with our recommendation. It is my turn. I was going to recommend one game, but I'm just going to recommend Spider-Man PS4. Did we already recommend it? I don't think so. But play Spider-Man PS4. It's so fun. It's so...
It is.
It's fluid. It's probably on PS Plus.
It's on computer now if you don't even have a PlayStation.
It just got released for PC. That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tyler. And yeah, it's even if you don't like Spider-Man, just try the game out. They really know how to make you feel like Spider-Man.
Yeah, even if you don't want to feel like Spider-Man, it will make you feel like Spider-Man.
Yeah, and if you like that, then you can try out Miles Morales. But I'm not recommending that game because I'm only recommending one game, and that's Spider-Man PS4.
All right.
It's not on the Xbox because it's called Spider-Man PS4, but it's on the PC. And with that, we'll end the episode. If you guys want to send us any emails or thoughts, concerns, we do have an email. Surprisingly enough, checkpointcornerpod@gmail.com. We'd really appreciate it if you leave us with a nice review. Gamescom is happening right now. I'll probably get off this and watch it while I edit this, and then we'll talk about it next week, all the trailers and stuff. So that'll be fun. But thank you guys so much for being here and talking about more games.
Yeah.
And I'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.